Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. What dog was that? I saw it very quick and then it like disappeared. Is
Pomeranian.
oh yeah? Where is it at now?
Where is the dog now?
Yeah.
She passed away a couple months ago.
Oh man. So sorry about that.
It's okay. It
Yeah.
happens.
No, I get that. I mean, because I had a dog very similar, so I was just curious. Yeah, that's cool. But where are you calling from?
Illinois.
Nice, very nice. So, you're still good for the next like 45 minutes, Devin and chat?
I am.
Okay, cool. So let me just pull up your file 'cause I just got off my last meeting. I know that Brendan he let me know about you, right? And then he also gave me some notes as well. So I kind of already know what's going on. Obviously, I didn't get the full picture, right? So what we're gonna do on this call is really just identify first obviously the numbers, like figure out if all the numbers are correct, and if there's anything like that we have to do as far as like understanding like where you're at financially. And then once all that's out of the way, I already have your income, your debts, like all that stuff, but I just want to get very clear on those quick. After that, yeah, I just want to get to know you more and then figure out like what you're trying to build, what's working right now, what's not working right now. And then, I mean, if everything makes sense, then we can get you started and show you how the academy works. Sounds good?
Yeah.
So, I guess very quick thing here. Before we dive into the numbers very quickly, just very briefly, catching up to speed, like what was it that you saw from Brennan specifically that made you want to reach out?
Um, I don't know if it's anything so unique, but um, I like. I just like the way he speaks about money. And the breakdown felt pretty consistently simple. In theory,
Right.
and his story is relatable. Um, and I, of course, like everybody else, want to get to a point where we are at home more than we need to be in a building. So, pretty generic answers overall.
For sure. And I mean, the biggest thing here as well that I have here is like the main thing that we really want to keep the main thing is just like the instability, helping you get out of that, the potential instability, the potential living paycheck to paycheck, right? And then just being what he says here. Yeah, it's like being financially vulnerable if parenting solo becomes a reality.
Hmm.
Like, where does that come from exactly? Like, what do you mean potential reality solo parenting? What does that mean?
So, like, if I decide to start my family, most people start their family with the expectation that it's going to be a two-parent household. Um, and in my case, I don't approach it from that point. I would love that to be my reality, but I don't control those variables. So I would like to get to a financial place to where if I have to become a single mom, then I can financially do that. Um, and yeah, so that's where it comes from.
I'm not sure if I fully understand. So, are you like, do you have a partner?
I'm dating, but I'm not married. I'm not engaged. I am planning before I need it. So I'm not pregnant. I'm not planning to become pregnant anytime in this year.
But you
But
have kids though, right?
I do not. I just have dogs. So I am 36, so I'm looking ahead. I'm just planning ahead. I don't want to become pregnant and be like, "Oh shit, I need to do this." Like I don't that's not where my head should be. I don't want to think of getting ready when I want to become a mom. I want to be ready financially, whatever good enough looks like. And then if and when I'm ever ready, then I can focus on my health or other things, like but not necessarily am I living paycheck to paycheck. Like I would like that part of my life to be at a decent spot because there's no way to predict a magic number. But I would like to feel more secure in where I'm at and where
Before
my
making that
income is
commitment.
coming from and things like that.
Before making that commitment.
Yeah, and I mean even if it's An adoption scenario. I've had that come up where I've had relatives that they would they because of either whatever medical conditions they weren't able to provide for their children. That's another reality for me. I might adopt a relative's child, and so that concept of being a provider for a child is still there in some way.
Gotcha. I mean, I just want to honor what you're saying, or I can tell this is very important to you. But what's behind all that?
Just my own history with single mom. So my watching my mom go through that was enough for me to be very careful as an adult,
Mm,
and wanting to enjoy that part of my life more and see it less like a financial burden. And that's where majority of where I see a lot of people have frustrations are with the financial part. It's not necessarily parenthood in itself. It's more of affording to provide the basics, so with enough experience from either my mom or siblings or relatives that have their family, that seems to be the common thread is like affording the basics, like a car that works, the rent or the mortgage or food or, things like that. So I see that as a common thread, and like I said, I don't want to wait until I'm at that point. I would like to continue prepping because I have started, and that's where I have started. I just don't know where I'm at. And I feel like there's always room for improvement. So somewhere in there. I think that answers your question, but let me know if it doesn't.
no, it does. It does. Um, got it. So when you say like you don't know where you're at financially, like how do you mean exactly?
Um, if you were to ask me what's the total amount of money that I'm in debt, I couldn't give you a number. I can give you a range. If you would ask me, what should I ideally have as emergency savings, I can give you a range, pretty close range. What do I spend monthly? Oof, that's another range. So like I'm not as exact as I should be. Um, One because variables every month, but also like finances has been a stressor, even though I don't know. It's something that I don't enjoy doing. It feels like a chore. So I automate a lot of my life, and that has worked to some extent. And I feel like I need to basically grow up and deal with it and be more involved,
I
be
hear
more
you.
intensive, and be more specific, and have the ranges be smaller. Like
Gotcha. Okay.
so things like
So
that.
how long has it been since you've not been intentional with your finances?
I don't know how to answer that. I guess how are you defining intentional?
Like knowing how much debt you have, like budgeting, like knowing how much you need to have in your savings, like just being more responsible or slash like in tune with what's going on. How long have you felt like you haven't been doing that?
I don't know if I don't know if ever because I consistently automate, pay things off, look at, my balances, but I don't necessarily memorize them. Um, but yeah, I don't I'm not number obsessed. Like I don't know how to answer that question. So I just know that I make sure things get paid off or get paid. Um, and I automate it so that I don't have to think about it. And I know that a certain amount of money needs to be in the account so that the automations work. So a lot of my adult life has been set it and forget it with, a few situations here and there where I choose to be more involved. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been super I don't know what the word is. I don't know. Like I can't think of a point in time
Yeah,
where
I hear you.
I prioritized it like
I hear
that.
you. Can I give you an observation?
Yeah.
If you don't know how to answer my questions properly, or like if you still like if you're just in the don't know, don't think that it's a bad thing because what that shows me is that you're growing, right? Like if these questions are hard to answer, or if like for at whatever point in this conversation, like if it gets uncomfortable, this is where it's at. Because if I were to give you a little secret as to why Budget Dog is doing very well and like why our clients are doing very well, it's never about a condition of the wallet. It's about the condition of the mind, right? So the more that we can reflect on these things and the more that we can just be self-aware and just honest, I mean, you're gonna do very well, and I know you will, right? And I know that you hold these things close to your heart, especially like not being a common thread in your family, like how it has been. Um, but like, yeah. So that's just what I want to say before asking my next question, which would be, um, I guess, what sort of impact has that had on you personally and financially, like not being in tune with your finances?
I don't know that either. I just would say that the closest I can think of is there's seasons where I hyper focus on my next set of automations, um, on unsubscribing from certain things, on just cutting back. So
I
at
guess to
least
make it, I guess to make it more tangible, right? Like, you know, when someone has an open wound for their entire life, right? Like if you got cut when you were a little girl, right, and you left that wound open forever, I guess, what are some of the things that you've noticed even recently that has made you realize that because I've left this cut open for so long, this has happened, whether it's an infection, whether it's lack of mobility in your arm, like what are some of those things, those symptoms that's happened coming up?
probably like not managing subscriptions better. Like because of how hard it is, not hard, how long it takes to get through customer service and wait for them. And there's a long process to negotiate down. Like for example, Adobe is one of my subscriptions. It's pretty expensive, but they have found ways to put as many blockers from getting you to cancel, and that includes forfeiting your credits that you paid for. So that has been a way that I feel like I've bled out financially. Is I've wanted to close that account, but because of the amount of credits that I would forfeit because of how they've changed their policy, I've decided to keep it open because I think of the money I've already invested. So
What,
that's
what sort of what sort of subscriptions are we talking about? Like Netflix? Like what are we talking
no,
about?
I don't really have entertainment ones like that, but like Adobe is my biggest. Grammarly, Canva. I'm in grad school, so a lot of them are kind of focused around educational.
So I guess like more around I guess like what has happened recently, like outside of just like maybe, you know, um yeah, maybe just outside of just like the subscriptions and like just noticing that it's a little bit harder now to cancel because of how deep we're in with them now. Like I guess, without saying like I don't know, like I really want you to think like what's going on right now in life that you're realizing that because I haven't been fully in tune with my finances and I haven't been like fully intentional and fully responsible with it, like what are some things that have come up or like what are some symptoms or things that have happened in the last maybe few months or few years that has happened because of the lack of tune in your finances?
Yeah. I think I'm spending too much, and I don't think I'm saving enough. Um, there's a certain shame with how much I've spent,
Okay.
and I don't know if that's just part of growing in my income. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. But I would say definitely spending. When I look at the apps that automate things for me and tell me this is how much you've spent, and then I take a look at it, and I sometimes there's a shame with how much I've spent shopping. And when I see how much I spend monthly, there's a certain, oh my God, do I really need that? And a lot of that has to do with comparison to where I was 5 years ago.
Right.
Um, and then I give myself grace because a lot has happened. Like I bought a house, so obviously furnishing the house was a lot of the expenses had to do with, new couch or new table or whatever. But if I'm honest with myself, a lot of it isn't necessary. So there's a lot of spending that doesn't need to be happening. And that's where it came from. So
Gotcha.
subscriptions are considered expense, an expense. But definitely my Amazon account. Amazon's making a nice
Mhm.
pretty penny from Francesca. So
I hear you. I hear you. So, sorry, I just wanted to slow down. Okay. So like just the spending too much, like I know like the shame around that for sure. Saving too little, but like define that for me. Like how does how has how has been, oh my gosh, I'm brain fart. How has spending so much or too much on things that you said aren't really necessary, like how has that actually impacted your savings and like your ability to build for your future? Like be more granular here.
so a few years ago I had a savings account of 28,000 and now I'm down to like 9.
Mm,
And I feel like that should not have happened. Regardless of what I spent it on, which I stand on. I feel like the purchases that I did were worth it for sure. I would do it again. But I also know that I could have easily replenished that and I didn't. Um, and that's on me. So I think that's the closest example I can give you.
okay. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good that you're being self-aware. Um, Now the thing is though, like with the draining and savings, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what it is that you bought. Like I don't need to know, but like just looking back, I mean, with the savings that you could have had or whatever, like because it sounds like it doesn't really sound like you. I mean, you say that you like have the savings and it's drained and it hurt. But then we go back to this mind frame of like, oh, it's not too bad because it's like it was worth it. Like I'm happy with my decision, right?
Yeah, the spending, the
But like
the
what's
reasons
the
for
reason
me.
behind what's the reason behind like the shame then? Like just looking back, like what do you feel like you've missed out on because you spent way too much money and you lost your
So
savings?
the reasons that I tapped into my savings were good reasons, but those are separate from my regular spending habits. So the shame
May I
comes
ask like what reasons?
for the big ones.
Yeah, like what just so I can get understand.
Water filtration for the house and a sump pump built in. A deck, my back deck was breaking, the wood was like caving in. So
Right.
a lot of structural stuff that I would do again. The problem wasn't those. The problem was the daily DoorDash, like the Amazon, the impulsive shopping at TJ Maxx, things like that. Because if I was tighter with my budget in those smaller purchases and, replenished, then it would have been fine. But I haven't been doing that. And that's why I'm like, okay, that's on me. That's not necessarily an expense that I felt was so worth it. It's usually just
Yeah.
impulsive. So that's the difference for me. Impulsive spending is too high, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I mean, just to get like very granular here, like, is this what you deserve?
I don't know. What is this? This as in budget dog or
No, no, no. Like just how you've been, like what's been going on with you.
that leads to the impulsive spending?
Yeah, like the consequences of the impulsive spending and like the way that you're living life now. Like, is that what you deserve?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because um, it's an impulse. It's earned money and then it's spent with what I wanted to do in the moment. It's not necessarily wrong. It doesn't align with something that I have in my head as far as like this arbitrary unknown number of what's okay for impulsive spending. I don't have that. So I don't know.
Yeah. The reason why I ask is because I care, right? If you don't know if this is what you deserve, then how do we know what you do deserve?
Not, I don't think they're related. I don't see them being related. Um, I know that I deserve to be more self-disciplined, and I know that I deserve to have more financial stability. Um, but
So do you deserve to live in the state that we're in right now because of the decisions you made? Like, is that what you truly deserve?
I don't know. That word deserve doesn't sound appropriate. Um, I see it as a consequence of my actions. So
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, it's just like, are you satisfied or are you happy living that?
um, I'm not necessarily satisfied, which is why I'm reaching out. So, but I also feel, yeah, my intention for reaching out was to learn more about how to automate certain things and to really give myself a wake up call in certain areas that I might need more education on. And then from there, just do better.
For sure. And I mean, the way that we help people, the way that we help them invest, the way that we structure their finances, automate things, track their finances, like all that stuff, all the ones and zeros talk, all of that is like the way that we help them in the plan that you do today is very contingent on what you want, right? And ultimately, what you want is what you feel like what you deserve, right? And most importantly, like just human nature, if we feel like we deserve something, or if we want a goal, or if we feel like we want to be a better person, better daughter, son, better mother, I don't know, better provider, better investor, there's always a factor of like, I need this because of X, Y, and Z, right? But problem symptom, like you can't identify what it is that you want if you can't identify what you don't want, right? And if I were to just be very honest with you, Francesca, like, can I offer you a perspective?
Sure.
Like, it's really not going to matter how we help you, to be honest. Because a lot of the things that you're doing right now, you know you shouldn't be doing, right? And there's obviously things that we can do to like help optimize and like make quality of life better and obviously help you maybe retire one day or help you create a system that can pay you every month instead of you having to work a job. But it's never about the condition of the wallet or the condition of your systems or like even someone coming to us trying to address the symptoms, which is you feeling like you need better optimization or you need a better grip of your finances. But that's usually symptomatic. And like everyone that comes to us has different symptoms, right? Some people come to us and say, I'm in a lot of debt, symptom, or I need to track my finances better, symptom. There's so many symptoms, but the only way that we can help someone is if we can really dig deep and find the problem, the root of the symptoms. Because without that, then it's very hard to enforce change. Because I'm not sure if you ever heard the quote, um, like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink, right? We can always give the best, most brightest, most fanciest solutions to people, but there's going to be like 90% of people that will join this program and learn the systems and get results no matter what. And then there's like 5% of people that like need to work a little bit harder to get the results. And then there's like the remaining 5% of people that they'll just never get results, no matter what. And it's again, it's never about the condition of the mind, but it's a condition. Sorry, it's never about the condition of the wallet. It's about the condition of the mind. So, you know, I would love to show you like how we can help you, but you know, what's always more important is just identifying where you are now, where you want to go, slash what you deserve, what you don't deserve, and like I just identify like what are those habits that we have to break. Because my question to you is like right now, like January 9th, Friday, 2026. Like what happens if we don't view our life in a perspective of what we don't deserve and do deserve? Or let's just say, for example, like we keep approaching these situations or these problems with like symptoms as opposed to just addressing a root cause. Because just to be very frank with you, right? Like I think that a big reason why you're on this call is because you said you don't want to be a common thread, right? So the biggest thing is okay. Like if we haven't gotten resourceful enough, or if we haven't found the resources to not be the common thread, then we have to figure out why, right? So my question to you is like, what happens if we never find the root cause of why we're living the way that we are? And then that prevents us from like finding any system or finding any coach. Like what happens to Francesca in the future?
What do you mean by never finding a root cause? Never finding a root cause to impulsive spending?
Not finding a root. Well, I guess impulsive spending is just a decision that you made, right? And decisions can be good and bad. I don't really care how much money you spend on DoorDash. That's fine. It's just, when I was asking you earlier, and again, it's not to like make you feel bad or like, commend you. It's just I care about you and I want to just be honest with you. Um, because when I ask you like, how long have we been not tracking your finances? You said you don't know. And I asked you why not? You don't know. Right? So, and the thing is, like, the you don't know is just a symptom of like not understanding the problem, right? And all these symptoms that come up, like impulsive spending, lack of savings, that's all symptomatic, right? So my question to you is like, what happens if we like never address the root cause? Because it till this day, right now, I don't understand it yet, and we're gonna do that today. But what happens if we just like never?
Well, the root cause I feel has been identified, which is finances are not enjoyable to
Which
track
is
and
a
manage.
symptom of
Probably scarcity.
that would also be a symptom.
Scarcity would be a symptom.
Feeling scarcity, feeling insecurity around finances, feeling tight are all symptoms. Like for example, like let's say I had headaches or my vision was being blurry. My headaches and my vision being blurry isn't the reason why I can't focus, or it's not the problem as to why I'm not performing at work. The root problem could be that I have a brain tumor. And sometimes people don't know that they have a tumor before it's too late.
Right. So I don't know where, I don't know. I think for me, my root causes are, I think now like I said, it was scarcity. It comes from a childhood of having scarcity or living through that, which has led me to do put things in place that have put me in a better place than other people in my family. Um, the way that I track isn't how I think other people track based on what I see online, because I don't have exact numbers and I'm not as diligent as other people when they talk about it. They have more they're just more concise and precise. Um, but as far as my habits have been consistent in most ways for the positive, but in some ways for the negative, which is why I'm even on the call to begin with. And the other gap is just knowledge, just knowing
Yeah,
how to do something,
for sure.
or understanding how to do it. So,
Yeah. And that being said too, like I mean if we haven't thought about like if you haven't had the thoughts to go out and like put those things in place, like put out like the thoughts of like, hey, I should probably start budgeting or like I should probably um like get a grip of my finances. Like if you haven't had those thoughts sooner, then if you would you agree that like what it sounds like we really need is just some accountability around this?
oh, definitely. And I've had periods where I've been forced to be more accountable, um, because of, bills, basically. Situational, pandemic, all kinds of things. So,
Outside of just external uncontrollable factors, like when I say, would you agree that you need accountability, like like if someone who can guide you and someone who can call you out on things that they see and just tell you how it is because they care about you and they relentlessly help you pursue your goals and no matter how uncomfortable it is. That's what I mean.
yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah, it sounds similar to a trainer, so.
Yeah. So I guess like, the whole root cause, right? Talk, looping back. The only reason why someone lives out their life the way that they are, the only reason why someone, yeah, just like essentially just allows, like you just said, like it sounds like up to this point we haven't had that accountability, which could be the root cause, right? Because I mean, if you had the help, if you had the context, if you had the knowledge, if you had someone literally like tell you like every day, like, hey, this is what we got to do, you know, you probably wouldn't be on this call, right?
Hmm.
So like what I'm not gonna say like ever, right? Because it sounds like I asked you earlier, like how long have you been disorganized or like not on track? And you said ever, but like I'm not gonna say ever right now. I'm just gonna ask you maybe in the last like year or 2 years. Um, like what has stopped you from finding that accountability or finding like a coach or someone that you can have guide you so you can actually make the right decisions, which will actually lead you like out of the situation.
That's also hard to answer because I haven't been in a negative financial place. There's a lot of growth as far as going from a rented room to a house. Um, so that financially has been a journey. Um, bills are paid monthly, on time, every month. So there hasn't been anything negative to lead me to feel irresponsible, other than when I do look at my spending from time to time, whether it's monthly or however frequent it is. I just don't like the number that I see when I see spending, I see savings, and I see bills and utilities. Um, so that's really the only moment that I come back to is like,
And how long has that been going on for?
3 years.
Okay. Right. So in the last 3 years, if I had like let's just say I had an open wound. I'm going to use that analogy again, right? Like let's say you and I were on the call and you were a personal trainer and you wanted to help me like exercise better. But I showed up on the call with an open wound on my bicep and it was just like you can see it, right? Maybe in the moment or like when I first got the cut, like it wasn't something that I wanted to address. And I'll explain why I could have thought that. But like inherently, if you were my personal trainer and I had an open wound on my arm, like would that affect the results that I can get with you because of my lack of mobility and possible infections that could happen in my arm.
To some extent, yeah.
Now, the only reason why someone wouldn't go to a hospital when they first got cut or when they first noticed that lesion, whether it was 3 years ago or a year ago, is two reasons, right? Either shame, like they don't want to go to a hospital and have people look at them and be like, oh, like this person's gross, like they have an open cut on their arm. Or two, they don't trust doctors.
Or three, they don't have insurance.
I guess.
Financial part. There's always a financial part.
But I mean, can I challenge you on that?
Sure.
I mean, let's say you had a daughter or a son and they needed medical attention.
Hmm.
Like they were going to be in a really bad spot or possibly pass away, like if they didn't get help, right? Would the reason of insurance get in the way of you moving heaven and earth to finding the money so that you can help them out?
No, I don't think so. But it would still hinder me
Yeah.
because
It wouldn't stop you.
if it's something that's life or death, that sounds like it's not necessarily something a home remedy, like maybe I go to a new country and find a different affordable doctor. The finance part still comes up. Um, but
Well,
yeah,
let's just
I
put it
would
into
try
perspective
harder
though.
for sure.
But yeah, like without downplaying or without trying to like find a easy way out, like
Hmm.
let's just say it was a life or death situation. Like you would do whatever it took to find the money, right?
Hmm.
So then I guess for you, like just in the last 3 years, like what's prevented you from finding the money, or maybe has it been just the fact that we haven't fully trusted like someone to actually get us out of our spot or found
No,
someone
it
who can do that
wasn't
with?
necessarily trust to get out of the spot. 3 years ago, I bought the house, and I've accepted that it was going to take a lot of money to furnish and set up. I didn't know how long it would take me. Now, 3 years later, I feel like the house is furnished. Anything that I add to it is just because I want to, not because I need it.
But like outside of the house, right? Like has your spending habits improved or like has your savings increased in the last 3 years?
No, that's where the savings went down, was from
Right.
the house.
So it's like, I
So
mean, is that not like something that we should probably address? Like, I mean, if you knew that that was happening, then like what prevented you from getting help to help stop that bleed?
ask me that differently. I don't know if I captured the question.
Um, yeah, so like, I mean, outside of the house, right? Obviously
Mhm.
life happens and things happen, but we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Life is fragile. Anything can happen in life, right? But I mean, because we've been in the same spot for 3 years, right? Good or bad, but still, like your savings haven't increased, so I wouldn't really consider it good, right?
Mhm.
Unless you do, right? Probably not. Like if your savings haven't increased and we've been spending more money and we haven't found a way to get out of that or like found a way to not become a common thread, because that sounds like that's the biggest thing. Like the on the file here, the insecurity says you don't want to be a single mom that can't afford the bills, right?
Mhm.
But would you agree that the way that we've been living so far has put us on track to doing that?
Yes.
So what prevented you from like getting help and getting someone to pull you out of the water?
I don't. I think it still kind of ties back to situation. Um, to be that feels like the most honest answer is situation. Situation with the adjustment. So there's been a few major adjustments in the course of 4 years, roughly. Um, One adjustment was a jump in pay from one job to another. So there was that initial adjustment. Then there was an adjustment of moving from one state to another. Then there was the adjustment of going from a bedroom that I was renting to a house. So that's a huge adjustment mentally, financially, my life was it was a lot of adjustment. Then there was an adjustment of a relationship that I was in, and then not being in that relationship. So a lot of that impulsive spending was part to like emotional spending. So I can admit that that was a bleeding wound, because like I didn't want to. I could have went to the gym, but I didn't. Like, or I could have did something else. I could have decided to become a drunk, and I didn't do that. So I would say that my bleeding wound has been tied to situation. It's still when I
Has it been to cope?
maybe, yeah, I could say that to get that kind of dopamine rush of this, I don't know, new set of cups fits my ideal life or something, like that. So I could say that it is a form of coping.
Can I share an observation?
Yeah.
Is I've had like hundreds of these conversations before, right? And usually, like I said, like symptoms are different, but the root cause is usually the same.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever someone does something like that, like whether it's coping or like doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing in the moments where things are high stakes and like they're stressed out, it's usually because they want to feel in control.
Possibly.
And like if we don't find ways to combat that or find ways to like not only just call it out, obviously like I'm here for you, right? Like I also know people that have gone through very similar situations. And I have as well, right? I had a very bad eating habit and I gained a lot of weight, lost it all again. I also had a really bad habit of like not eating, right? So I've been there, right? Um, but the thing is, like, why haven't we been able to adapt or pivot when life hits, right? That's the biggest question. Because honestly, if I were to be real with you, I think joining this program is probably going to be something that will be even more uncomfortable than you're used to. Because not only are we going to help you break the chains that has kept you here, but we're going to be pushing you to do things that are hard to do in the moment, but are best for your growth and development. And if, like, for example, if we want to help someone like get better at finances or like invest better or like set up a financial system that way they are not a common thread and they can be like self-made like you want to be. Sometimes it takes a lot of grit and not just discipline, but literally courage because you're going to be doing things that like you've probably never done. And unless we can identify, okay, is Francesca capable of making decisions and making changes or like sacrificing things despite how heavy life gets? Because if she can't, then, or if she's not committed to becoming that person, maybe she's not that person now because no one is when they first join us. Like no one's ready, no one's rich, no one's, you know what I mean? Like no one is like the person they need to be when they first start, but they're committed to growing, right? So my question to you is like, whenever the tough gets tough and like whenever life happens again, like what happens if we keep on having this mindset or this, I guess, cope or this strategy of like trying to find external sources of pleasure or like finding ways to control our life in ways that could increase our spending habits or could hinder us financially? Like what happens if we don't change that and like life gets even harder? Or let's say you have a kid. Like how would life actually look like at that point? If we can't find a way to combat that or find a way or a strategy or someone to help us out of that, like what happens then for you?
Just gets worse. It gets more difficult.
Beautiful. That's literally all I need to hear, right? And what you've done is powerful, and what you've done is obviously something that not a lot of people get to. Um, Now, like I said earlier, like on this call, because what we do here at Budget Dog, like it's not like a one size fits all approach. It's not a cookie cutter solution. What I would need to do, Francesca, is you know, we would have to like for most cases, we have to schedule a second call so that I can take all the information and then bring it back to the team, right? Because that way we can create a custom game plan for you. That way it's intentional, that way it's tailored, and that way you feel like it's actually something that will help you get to where you want to go. Um, so I know I said 45 minutes. If you have to go or if you have a meeting coming up in the next now, we can schedule that call. Or we can keep on talking until the top of the hour. That way we can get all the stuff out of the way. That way we're ready for the next call. What do you want to do?
We can keep on. I do have a question about you mentioning control, and I would like to hear more of how that is connected, um, so I don't assume anything.
Connected to like the like how like finances and how we're gonna help you.
No, that part's clear. I think what you said earlier was something along the lines of like people tend to spend more because they're looking for control when they're trying to cope, and I didn't quite grasp that fully.
Yeah. So it's like the person who's on the street, hitting their meth pipe. We look at them and we're like, dude, like, what are you doing with your life? Get a job, whatever. And maybe that's not the right way to look at it because maybe this is someone who hasn't reflected early enough. Let's just say, for example, they got laid off or they got divorced or like something really bad happened in their life or there was a massive transition, just like the transitions you've had in your life, right? And because they feel the unsteadiness of their life and because they feel like there are things out of their control, like you said, COVID, like you said, whatever, switching jobs, people tend to try to be their own God and try to please themselves in ways that are not healthy, right? There are ways to cope and strategize even when the rough gets rough, because that's what we're here to do, right? I mean, with finances, if you think about it, I mean, Warren Buffett or like Elon Musk, like the most successful people in the world, they never strike lightning twice. Like they usually have a great plan and a great strategy or great guardrails that put them in place so that when life gets tough or they're about to go bankrupt or they're losing a company, they have frameworks and systems that prevent them from rebounding, right? That's why the person who's on the street doing fentanyl, they probably started doing that because they had back pain, but they didn't reflect enough to say, hey, this is probably not a good thing to do. I should stop doing drugs. That way I can just get on the operating table, trust the doctor, reflect on the root cause of not the back pain, not the whatever, but identify the root cause of like, I am where I am now. I'm about to smoke this methamphetamine, not because I want it or because life is hard, but because I haven't done enough reflecting on why I am the way I am or what systems have been missing this whole time, right? Which for most people, it's help and it's accountability, right? I'm sure for 1,000,000% sure, like if you were to tell me right now, like if you had a coach, like if you had Brennan meet with you once a week in the last 5 years, like once a week with Brennan, if you were his best friend, I'm probably sure that you'd probably have like at least 10 units in real estate, investing all your money and being prepared to have a kid, right? Like guaranteed. Now, the question is, well, like, why haven't we found that person, right? And a lot of the time it's because of the coping. It's because of like the mindset around the tough, right? A lot of people prefer to do drugs than it is to just like pay the money to get their back fixed, right? Because they don't want to pay the money or they're not resourceful enough to do whatever it takes, move heaven and earth to find a doctor. They'd rather take the easy way, the cheaper way, the remedy way, and they'll leave this open wound open and just keep on duct taping it for years and years and years until they realize 10 years from now they're in a much worse spot.
Okay. I get that. Thank you.
And I'm saying this stuff because I care about you. Seriously. Like I get what you're trying to do, and I think it's very honorable and noble of you to want to be ready for when a man decides to commit to you. I mean, I would not be where I am right now if my wife didn't have the same mindset. She had to do a lot of work internally before I made the decision to propose to her. And that is me winning the lottery, having an amazing woman like that. So you're an amazing woman, and I can sense where your heart is at, and I really appreciate who you are as a human being. But I don't want to see you continue living life the way you are because it's just not healthy, and it's also not good for your money or future. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think we're ready for the next part of the call. Just
Yeah,
talk about the academy and some other details you needed from me.
yeah. So we can do two things, right? I'll let you know. You tell me what you want to do. We can either schedule a second call, or um, we can keep on talking, and we'll probably take another 20, 30 minutes. I do have a meeting at 2, but it's a team meeting, so like I don't really have to make it. Um, and I'm sure Brennan wouldn't mind because I'm helping someone.
Um, your Eastern time? Because it's 1 o'clock over here. It's 12:53.
Yeah, I'm Eastern, so it's 1:53.
Okay. So yeah, I can do another 30. I think it'd be better. But if you're more comfortable going to your team meeting, we can do that.
No, it's good. I prefer to stay on the call because now that you're here and everything is kind of fresh on the mind, we don't have to do a recap and all that stuff like that. But that being said, right? Like as far as the numbers, really, I mean, I already understand where you're at. I already have most of the numbers here in front of me. But the biggest thing is really just like, okay, um, like how committed are we to becoming the person who is willing to finally move heaven and earth and put the right systems in place, find the money, find the resources to make sure that like we just like don't repeat common threads because you don't have to.
I don't. Do people respond with like, "I'm very ready"? Is that a metric that you guys use? Like,
No, never, no one, I don't think I've ever met a single person that has joined our program that felt ready. It's not a question of like, Francesca, are you ready to start? Because like I wouldn't expect anyone to start anything big. Like we have people that come on these calls, complete defenses up, complete like, oh, this is a scam, this is whatever, and they end up paying us money at the end of the call and they join. But none of them ever were ready or were not scared. Because do you want to know the definition of courage?
it's doing something in spite of fear.
Yeah. You're actually one of the first people that actually knew the definition of courage. So I know you're a courageous person, but I want to really ignite that fire because it's not the absence of fear that you need to have, it's the triumph over it. And sometimes you also need courage to get over yourself as well. So my question to you is like, how committed are you to becoming that person? Not like become that person now, but how committed are you to trying to become that person? Because you don't have to be.
No, but I feel like I am committed. Might be slower to learn or slower to correct bad habits. But I feel like I've been consistently committed. Just kind of taking a little too much time and maybe a little too many distractions, but I feel committed.
I hear you. I'm glad. Before we talk about the program, right? Because like I said, I mean, we can very easily help anyone that comes into this process. It's just a matter of like how committed they are to drinking the water that we lead them to. But before we have that discussion, like just really quickly, just so I can get the numbers out of the way really quickly. I know that you have the savings, which is at 9K right now, and you have the 3K in credit card debt. But as far as like, credit score, like where are you at credit score wise? Roughly.
Last time I checked was 704.
Okay, 704. And what's your total limit on that 3K credit card? 3K credit card
10,
debt.
10 G's is the limit.
705, 10 G's limit. And is that your only credit card?
Mm, I think so. So I have like a Wells Fargo, but I use that only for house. And I've never been able to use it for anything else. So I would say yes.
Okay. And do you know a limit on that? I'm just-
7,000.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out your total utilization across everything. Okay, so 17K total, and then you have 3K used, so that's like less than 20%, which is great. 3K debt balance. I'm just checking this on. And then 17K total credit cards limits. And then savings 9K. And then you said, I mean, right now, like, let's just say in a real world where like theoretically we like helped you find ways to cut down costs for like food or like whatever. Like let's say we meal prepped. Like, how much money do you think you'd be able to buffer every month?
Buffer like save.
Yeah, like after expenses, roughly.
How much I think I would spend on food monthly if I were to meal prep and things like that.
Yeah, if you weren't spending it on like DoorDash, because I know DoorDash can be expensive.
Probably 400.
Okay. But right now it's paycheck to paycheck.
Mm, close enough. Probably every
Okay,
other paycheck or so.
gotcha. Um, all right, cool. So that being said, what I would want to do now, with your permission, we can talk about the program. As long as you feel like it's time to make a change. Maybe not that you're like ready or you feel not scared or you don't feel 100%, yay, let's do it, but like you feel like it's time to make a change.
I think it's time to hear about the program and then decide if I can make the change. If I'm ready to make the change.
Sounds good. So, what I would say, right, what we want to do for you specifically, yeah, like I mean, I don't need to really talk to the team to know how we can help you because I mean, I've already helped so many people in your situation, and the only reason why I would need to talk to the team was just in case like there was any like discretionary things that I need to know. But really, like, I mean, I don't think anything's going to change. That being said, based on your plan, right, like it's not going to be like we're just throwing you into like a course or like a module where you're learning how to do things better. Like this is a very intensive, and I don't want intensive to scare you, but it's intensive around your schedule. And we find ways to push you and we find ways to hold you accountable, whether it's through calling you, whether it's through scheduling appointments like this with Brennan or the team. And then you decide how many times a week you want to work with us. But we can give you as much support as you want. Um, it's pretty like, we give you all the resources. We get on calls with you multiple times a week, but you don't need to feel like you have to have all the time in the world to do this because we speak to single moms and we speak to people that are like working in the oil fields and they meet with us like once a month and they make it work, right? So the real question here is like, as far as level of commitment, I know you haven't heard the program yet, but like if everything made sense, like if there was like it was an absolute no-brainer, and obviously sure, like if there's a little bit of fear involved, but like let's just say everything that we talked about, if it made sense to you, um, would there be anything that like I would need to know as far as like level of engagement or commitment and ready to start? Or ideally, like if everything made sense. there wouldn't be anything in your way that would prevent you from not making a change and taking action?
I don't feel like I know enough about anything to know how to answer that.
Yeah.
Like, I
Which
don't
is
want
what,
to just give you a generic no, I don't think so. But I genuinely do not know what, like, you're giving me a vague enough description for me to still not know how to answer. So I don't know how to answer. Like, right now, my brain goes into my work schedule, the work hours. Um, is he gonna call during the morning where I'm in a meeting?
we'll cover all of that, right? The question isn't like, are you ready to make a change based off of the lack of information that you have now? It's more if everything made sense and we can move around your schedule and like not you move your schedule, but we work around your schedule and like we find ways to make it work for you, like everyone has. Is there any reason or anything that I need to know as far as like level of commitment and ready to start? Or ideally, like if everything made sense,
I don't
it,
have anything that comes to mind.
like there wouldn't be anything that would stop you from getting started? Like, is there any like I don't know, like anything in your life right now that's more pressing than getting your finances in order?
Um, Not that I can anticipate.
Mhm. Cool. So, um, then really, before we dive into the program, right, the most important thing is obviously like accountability, because I know you said that that's what you think you need, but just to really solidify this, when I say accountability, it's not like we're like knocking on your door and like waking you up in the middle of the night, like like we're getting on calls with you at your own pace, and obviously there could be a little bit of nudging and like suggestions that we'll make, or we might even like if we notice something that's going on and like or let's just say you're falling short on something, like we're gonna be very quick to be like, hey, like what's going on? Let's get to the bottom of this and like we need to move forward, right? So my question to you is, does Brennan, most importantly, myself and all the success coaches, like do we have your permission to give you that level of accountability and push you to do things that are uncomfortable but best for your growth and development?
Um, that's another one that's pretty vague. So I would say based on what I think you mean, yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're not going to be pushing you off a cliff or making you like make money in illegal, illicit ways, but it's obviously going to be uncomfortable because, these are things that we've never done before, like you, for example. So, that being said, like we'll dive into the program. As far as like, I'll just cover how much the investment is, and then I'll also cover, you know, the timeline. I'll cover what covers in that timeline. So the investment is 10 grand. Now, if you have to find a way to make it work for you, right? Like one thing I want you to understand is that not everyone that's come to us has the full investment, which is why they're on the call in the first place, right? So there are ways to make it work. So if we need to like if we have to find a way to make it work for you, make it easy for you to come in, not put you in a bad spot, we can talk about that at the end of the call. But just so you know, there have been people in way more delicate situations than most people, and like they still find a way to make it work. So you're totally safe on that. Um, that being said, the timeline, right? It's 1 year. It's broken up into like 6 months and 6 months. So it's 6 months intensive and then 6 months additional support. Okay. I'll break down each one now. So with the 6 months intensive, there's three things we're focusing on. Okay. These are not going to be things that are going to add more stress or time or responsibility in your life. These are going to be things that are going to give you back time and give you clarity and give you peace of mind. In fact, most people within 6 months, they're able to increase their net worth by 80K and they're able to save $2,000 to $4,000 a month minimum. That's average across 2,000 people. That's a big median, right? So just on the savings alone, you can easily net back the investment. And just on the the growth strategies and like how we're going to help you make that net income or that net worth increase, very easy to just picture how that would work, right? But the three things that we're going to focus on, number one is tracking your money. Number two is growing your money. Number three is protecting your money. So track, grow, protect. With track, we're just going to give you back the power that you've needed, which is literally just knowing what's going on in your finances. And it's not going to add more resistance to your life. Once it's set up, like legit, it's 15 to 30 minutes a month just to look at your statement, like just to look at the foresight, because everything is automated. Like it's automated with AI. So like your expenses, your bills, your investments, your savings, it's all automated. Okay. Now with that, it's going to give you back the time. If you imagine like the nervous system, right? Like your heart being your income and then the veins being your blood, right? We can't fix what we can't see. Okay. So we're just going to help you see what's going on. And yeah, so that's it for number one. Number two is grow your money. Now, with growing your money, what's really interesting about this is that we're also growing your money, but also paying off any debt that you have, right? People in your shoes that have good credit scores. I mean, you said what, 705, right? Yeah, like there are so many hacks and like ways that you can literally like, for example, we'll refer you to one of our like lending partners or like one of our institutions, and they can give you like 0% interest credit cards or a loan for like 12 months up to like 2 years. And that entire year, all of your expenses, everything goes towards that. And you can even do balance transfers to pay off debt, whatever you got to do. And then all we have to focus on in that year or like that timeline is all the money that your salary is now being saved. We're investing that into investments, safe ones, right? And all we have to do is do better than 0%. Like, is the mathing? Like, does that make sense? Right? Like, it's super simple, right? So we want to show you how to do that. Obviously, because your debt isn't massive, like that's an option we can do. But with the grow side of things, just the growing your money, we're going to give you all of the options that we see work best in your scenario, and we'll show you like people that have done exactly that. Because there are people that have joined us 6 months or a year ago, and they've been able to increase their net worth by like 200K, or like save this much money, or do this, or buy a home, or whatever. So we'll show you all the plans, and the plans are contingent based off of where you want to go. So if you want to have like a future fund for your kid, or you want to have like investments set up, that way you can make what you're making right now per month passively. Like if you don't want to work, or if you want to travel the world and make money anywhere in the world without needing to work a job or trade your time for money, then we'll show you how to do that. Right? We'll give you all the plans and we'll break down exactly how to set up those guardrails. That way, I mean, I'm pretty bad at bowling. So if you every time you throw the ball down the lane, even if you throw it like javelinch, like if you throw it like overhead, it doesn't matter. Like it's gonna hit the target because we set up those guardrails. Okay, that's number two. And then number three is protection. So with this one, protecting your money, it's not just like putting an insurance policy on you and then waiting for you to die, right? Like no, like that makes no sense. And that's how some people do it, to be honest. Like it's crazy. What we want to do is give you the systems and check this. Give you the coping mechanisms that can help you in the events of life. Transitions, death in the family, vet bills, babies, right? Instead of relying on getting control through other sources, we'll give you that control through credit optimization, tax strategy, corporate structures. That way, when life hits and things are getting tight, or when things that are out of your control happen, just like how it has, instead of trying to find control externally, we're literally just like, okay, we've expected and we've anticipated this event to happen. But because we've set out those guardrails, no matter how fast or slow or ricocheted we throw the bowling ball, it's still going to hit a target because we're expecting them to happen, right? So again, estate planning, trust, corporate structure. giving you the power that, I mean, if you know how banks work, do you know how banks work?
No.
So we get taxed every single time we get paid, right?
Mhm.
And then when we buy stuff, we also get taxed as well, right? Now, when you get paid from your paycheck and you deposit that in the bank, what does the bank do the second that you deposit your money?
Invest it.
They lend it out. They lend it. They literally give it to other people. Banks have no money in them. It's all a front that has been created to keep us poor, right? Because we trade our time for money and the government prints money. And then we get taxed on our money. And then when we give money to banks, they give it out to other people. That's just how it works. Like if you go to a bank right now and try to withdraw $10,000, they need a day because they don't have it. Right. So we're giving you with the tracking, growing, and protecting, we're just giving you that back, that power that has been imposed on us. That way, like when shit gets hard, like we're ready. And not only that, but like because it's all automated, I mean, what's 6 months of your life, right? Like you just learn everything and you apply yourself. After 6 months, after a year, it's literally 30 minutes a month, which equates to like like maybe 6 hours a year of your time so that we never, ever feel insecure about our money or have the fear of layoffs or children. Does that make sense?
Mhm. So the protecting through estate planning and corporate structures and credit optimization. Um, not sure if you were saying that. It kind of lost me a little bit with the bank, even though I understand what you're saying as far as how it operates. Are you saying that Budget Dog has their own bank?
No. Well, we help you become your own bank because that's like
Okay,
a financial mindset.
I understand that. Thank you.
Like,
That was
have you
what I
heard of
was.
that? Have you heard of that term before?
No.
Essentially, becoming your own bank is having the ability to like literally print money out of thin air or lend money out or invest money just like the bank does. Because if you want to buy a real estate property, you're not going to save up every penny to buy it. Like you need a loan,
Hmm.
right? So that's money that came from where,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, okay, we learn how to use debt as a tool, just like all the mega billionaires and mega gajillionaires, because debt is a tool,
Hmm.
especially if you know how to use it.
Yeah, and I feel like that is my huge gap, one of my gaps.
Like, do you want me to be honest with you? Like, you're a high income earner. Sure, your savings are not that high, but it's like, okay, if you want to retire or if you want to like have like a base in the next 5 years before you have a kid or before you get married, that is possible, but it's not just going to be through tracking your money or like investing better. It's going to be through leverage. Because if you think about it, like if you want to make half of your salary every month passively without having to work ever, like imagine waking up every month and seeing like $4,000 hit your account and you did nothing to do that. Like if you want to have that happen or even 8K a month, what you have to start thinking about is how can I get enough money liquid to invest and get a return back? Because for example, like if you invest $1 million in an index fund and it gives you 5% return annually, then that means you're making 60 or $70,000 a year without doing anything. So for you to get $1 million or $2 million to fully retire, the only way you're going to do that in the next 5 to 10 years is through leverage, probably real estate, index funds, private equity, which is what everyone does in our program. 20% of our members are millionaires, and they didn't start millionaires.
Okay.
So in terms of the process, like, yeah, like aside from the investment, in terms of the actual process, track, grow, protect, how do you feel?
Um, I don't know, a buzz. So,
Like a good buzz?
like a processing buzz, just kind of like, like making sure. I repeat what you say in my head. I'm writing down like some keywords. Um, I what's resonating is the leverage part, using debt as a tool, and what's going to get me to my goal is not gonna, necessarily going to be tracking or investments. It's going to be the leverage, and
Do you feel like the like helping us set up a proper coping mechanism in this process will be much better for you long term?
do I feel like me helping you guys set up a proper coping mechanism for my spending habits would be a better what for this?
So like right now, right? When life gets hard, the only reason why we tend to fall into like our current coping mechanisms, which could be the overspending or could be an example, a drug addict buying drugs, right? The only reason why that happens is because they don't have systems in place to help them when the tough gets tough.
Oh, I agree with that. Yes,
Yeah.
I for
So
sure.
one thing that I would share with you is just to be very honest with you, like you don't have to know what every button does on the plane before you fly because that's what pilots are for. And then because we've done this like thousands of times, the only thing that you have to have at this point is just courage, right?
And
Now,
10K.
which yeah, which we'll figure out. Like I said, not everyone has that, so like obviously there are ways to figure that out. But that's the easiest part. One thing that's more important though, aside from the money, like if I was your personal insurance policy on this program and you had my number and you can reach out to me at any point and you had Brennan, the team, the community, and you can get access to all these resources, like do you feel like for whatever reason this would not work for you?
I don't know yet. I just don't. Again, I don't even know what the program looks like. I don't have a day in the life. I don't have a
Just based off of what you've heard.
it's easy to say yes to that. It's easy to say yes to that because it's vague enough and it's highlighting things that I want and things that I can agree I need more education on and things that I agree I need to improve. Um, and it sounds like there's enough support and um, so you're saying a lot of things that are positive. So I can't give you a real answer as to like I think I would struggle with this because of this. Like I can't give you that.
For sure.
So
And
every
it's just like an analogy, right? Where let's just say like you went to a gym, right? You knew me. Let's just say I picked you up. We went to the nearest gym. Um, like as you're signing up for membership, would the concierge or would like the person at reception, like as they're handing you their keys and like the paperwork, like are they going to tell you that, if you sign up for this gym and you work out with us for this amount of time, that we're going to guarantee you a six pack?
no,
Why not?
because it's based on your effort.
Yeah. See, at the end of the day, it's really just like it doesn't really matter the type of trainer that you get, but statistically, the people that train with trainers versus the people that don't, statistically, they're way healthier, even if the trainer has less knowledge than the other trainer. Because what's more important is where your heart's at and what actions you're taking. Would you agree?
To some extent, yeah. I don't know, I had a recent enough situation where it was unique. Um, so yeah, they tend to be, again, we're speaking in general terms. So yes, I would agree that people that have a trainer are generally more healthy.
No matter the trainer. It's just if they have someone that's holding them accountable.
Um, I would, I
Someone
would,
who's
yeah,
certified and has a track record.
I would. There's guardrails to that because of maybe I'm getting too detailed, but health conditions and concerns and the trainer's knowledge of the conditions of the person. So those are scenarios. I have quite a bit of friends that are in the fitness and that are fitness trainers, and they might have a healthier client that can do more mountain climbers, but there is no change possibly in the weight or their BMI because of some health conditions and how their body processes stress. Um, that doesn't make them bad fitness trainers, but it does mean that that particular client and that
We'll
whoever.
probably get lesser results or it'll take a little bit harder to do that, which I agree because like I said earlier, like even in our program, there's like 90% of people that will get results no matter what. Five will have to work a lot more or maybe a little bit harder to get to where they want to go, whether it's like breaking limiting beliefs or like, showing up a little bit harder. And then the other 5%, it'll just never happen, right? But the person that doesn't train at all, the person that never invests into their skill set, I mean, they're never giving themselves a chance, you know? So, I mean, if you feel like based off what we've said so far could be helpful, then I mean, really, the most important thing, aside from the money, right? Like, you know, how committed are you to maybe like not like I am that person right now, because you don't have to be, but like how committed are we to attempting or trying to become the person that's, like we said earlier, able to move heaven and earth, put one foot after the other, and allow the external voices and like the help to pull them out of the water instead of just trying to tread and drown.
Would it be an accurate interpretation to say that what you're asking is how committed am I to pay 10K right now today? Okay.
Now
Um,
it's not now it doesn't have to be 10K, but at the end of the day, despite the investment, despite the finances, it does not matter if you or if anyone who comes on this call feels like they're not ready or feels like they're not at the point of finding a way to make the money work. What's more important is, do we want to take one step left foot after right foot, or do we want to close the door, take a step back, and let our mind and let our coping mechanisms hit again, and just keep on living the same life?
I don't think that today would be the day that I would sign up. And I also don't think that I will allow myself to continue the same coping mechanisms, but that's on me to figure out. Um,
May I ask why?
I still need to do. There's too much ambiguity for me right now. Um, I don't know if there's YouTube videos that Brennan has with people and has more detail of what that even looks like. Um,
What if it wasn't what you thought it was?
I don't have a thought of what it is. It just sounds like we're gonna talk and we're going to hold me accountable once a week or maybe more. And then I don't know anything
Yeah.
more
So would I be able to offer you perspective?
on what the day to day could look like. Like, sure.
Yeah. And I guess even beyond that, right? Because I care and because like we've now been talking and I feel like I know who you are fundamentally. Um, I think what's more important instead of approaching this decision as like, oh, this is a 1 hour decision, instead of approaching it like that with that mind frame, I think it's more important to approach this as like, how long have we been delaying progress for? Has it
I
been an
agree.
hour?
No,
Now, the
I
thing is, outside of all of that,
mhm.
you're totally right. I mean, I haven't shown you the back end yet. You've probably seen some testimonials. You probably haven't seen all of them, but like, I wouldn't be doing my job as a coach or as a friend because I actually truly care about you. It has nothing to do with me trying to like have you pay and like make the money, whatever. Like, what's more important for me, especially as a good steward of faith and having someone who like empowers other people, you know, the reason why I asked you, like, what if it wasn't what you thought it wasn't to like trip you up or like confuse you. The reason why I said that is because what if what we need isn't more information, isn't more yes men or bias information as to why you should do this, but what if it's the courage?
I believe it is the courage. I don't know if it's the courage to spend 10K today, but I agree 100%. It's the courage, and I
So
agree 100%.
if we were able to find a way to make it work for you, because you don't have to spend 10K. Like I said, especially like as an investor and like as someone who like deals with finances all day, every day, if there was a way for me to break down a payment or like find ways to leverage it, just like the bank, I'll do that all day long. I would not want you to be out 10K right now. Just being clear. So
I still don't know what the structure is. I know that there's accountability. I know that there's gonna be,
I'm going to show you.
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, like if it's just like lack of clarity on like what you're doing, then I hear you. But just make it very clear, like, as a friend, as someone who cares, like, even if I'm gonna share my screen right now, but like, even if we spend the next week breaking down every case study, breaking down every call, every interview, at the end of the day, no matter how certain you are, you still have to be the type of person to like look at the invoice and pay. And that's always going to be scary, no matter the timeline, no matter the day. But what's always more important is, as a coach, it's like, hey, because it's the accountability that we need, it's like, as a coach, would you want me to help you make the decision the right way and push you to do things that are best for your growth and development? Or would you just rather have me like allow anyone I get on the phone with to just like do it on their own accord? Because what happens if in the program the results that we get, because like you said, like if you go to a gym, the results are contingent on your effort. Now what happens if the expectation is, hey, like you can take the time and you can think about it and do it when you feel comfortable, versus here's my hand, I'm going to take care of you, and I want you to have the courage to just grab the hand and pull yourself out of the water instead of just like drowning. So I can show you the program, I'll show you the back end, but you know, yeah, I don't think I've ever met a single person that I've met that wasn't scared. Like I almost crapped my pants when I was on your side of the phone like years ago. But there's a reason why like I'm talking to you because I've done a lot of the work. And yeah. But anyways, so outside of the wins, because I can show you these wins all day long, like we have basically every hour we have people writing us reviews. Um, if I can show you the statistics. Okay, actually no, forget the statistics. Like I can show you everything you want to see, but it's just not going to give you more clarity. So this is the portal. You can meet with us. In fact, there's a call that's happening right now.
Hmm.
So this is like there's a real estate opportunity that's happening right now. So if I press this and if I join this, like I'm gonna see Brennan. Oh, I can't because I'm on Zoom right now, so it'll kick me out of the call. Um, so we have calls every day, basically, and you
Mhm.
choose which days work for you. I'm on someone's account right now, so this looks very different compared to you. Your account would look based off of your schedule and like what days you commit to.
Mhm.
And then on those calls, like what would happen is like let's say we found a way to make the money work. We find a way to break up the payments for you or even help you find a way to finance it at zero down with very little interest. What we do, next steps is literally we get you in here and we book you in for your first student onboarding. And you choose the time that works best for you, right? And then literally you have like this weekend to go through some of the homework, which isn't a lot. It's just like prerequisites and just like a welcome. And if you're really hungry and you really want to like dive deeper, you can do more work, right? But what's gonna happen on that first call is you're gonna be like, Francesca, nice to meet you. I love the conversation you have with Daniel, and he gave me all the information about your debt, your situation, your goals, like the amount of money you're making right now. And they're gonna provide you with like all of the guardrails, all of the plans that can work, and it's your choice at the end of the day. And then whatever you choose, like okay, like that's it. And then we basically just work towards that. If we have to change the plan down the road, cool. But the whole point is to just get you on track. And then we're holding you accountable. You have Brennan who can text you. You have me who, I mean, you have my number, so like you can call me or text me anytime. But the coaches in here are phenomenal. And our
Question.
group, yeah,
And I don't know if this will reveal anything private or personal. If you go back up to your tabs, where it says track your money, could you talk to me about what that tab is?
yeah, this is a template account, so like there's not anything personal here.
Okay.
Because usually, yeah, when it's customized, then yeah, sure, like you'll see someone's stuff out here. But
Well, there was a tab on the community tab.
are you
Yeah.
talking about this, like track your money, or are
No,
you talking about
no.
community?
Community, there's another tab
Oh,
called track. Yeah.
let's see here.
Are these people that are new or leaders?
A mix of both. Like people that have been doing this for a year, who are brand new, Brennan.
So is there how do how does Budget Dog or do they, it's either how or do, I don't know which one applies, organize people by their goals. I see like a common goal is to, like, let's just say pay off mortgage. Why not, right? Like that's something we should all strive to do. Maybe for others, they see it as debt they can leverage. I don't know. But is that a way that Budget Dog organizes people so that they can
I see what you're asking.
coach each other and, you know,
Is there any reason you asked specifically?
because I feel I don't really, I just don't know, but I think of if there's enough people with similar interests, and I use the mortgage example because that's one of the ones that he posts about on social media.
Yeah,
There's a possibility for that community to say either we all did it this way or I did it this way and this worked for me because of this. And that way it provides it's
yeah. So
basically
what I'll tell
knowledge
you,
sharing of how to get to the same
and
goal.
that's like, I love that you're asking that question because yes, obviously, like because the symptoms are usually different, like I said, but the root cause is usually the same. The way that we help people, whether it's paying off a debt, credit card debt, mortgage debt, tax debt, whatever debt, it's usually the same. Because with Grow, it's really just about finding ways to leverage credit. That way you can, I mean, for people that are like very in debt, we're still going to have them get into more debt or like get approved for 0%. That way they can do balance transfers, right? And that's the same thing with mortgages. There's even ways to, for example, like, I don't want to get too lost in the weeds because it'll just confuse you, but yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, there are ways to do that. And I mean, there are people that share their stories all the time. Like, if you can see this right here, like, people have different types of debt, like credit card debt, 401k, medical debt. And you can literally reach out to this person and talk. right? And you can ask their opinion. Um, and it's great because I mean we also have like let's see here. Yeah, track your money, or like let's just say grow your money. There are people that like all the time. It's Heather, great. She's yeah, she's awesome. She started week 5, and you know, for her to get to 1 million net worth, you know, which is very different from like the liquid stuff that we talked about.
Yeah, and this is the clarity of this and what you've shown with the other person
Yeah,
that I felt like I needed to see is more of them sharing how they want to get there. And
yeah.
I
And
know
even if
that,
you have even if you have a question too, right? Like, look, this is one day ago, Mandy.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome person. Tax question. Brennan literally responded within the hour, and then a bunch of people also like chimed in as well. Like 3 days ago, 59 comments. Um, yeah, like there are, and what I would tell you as well, like, I mean, I don't lead with this,
Mhm.
but I think community is very important
Oh,
because
absolutely.
you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most, and everybody in here. I mean, because money and like people getting being in debt, like obviously there's a lot of shame around that, and a lot of people don't tend to like speak out. But like this is a safe space, right? And like there are lifelong connections that you can make in here. Um, yeah, like I don't think I've met a single person, at least when I've been here, I haven't heard anybody else that joined our program, followed everything that we said, and then after 6 months or a year, like asked for their money back or said like they regretted their decision. Um, And even the ones that we did refund, I mean, we have a refund policy where it's like if you feel unsatisfied for whatever reason, no questions asked, you can get a refund. The only condition is that you have to be communicating with us. Like you can't ghost us for more than 30 days.
Mm.
That's how we make it fair because we're not in the business of trying to hold people's money hostage. Because if that happened, then what you would do, like if you were a normal, sane person, you go into Trustpilot and you search up Budget Dog and then you put a 1-star review. And you can't fake these reviews. You just can't. It's illegal, right? So, we have over 381 reviews that are all 5-star. Um, but it's like, look, like Francesca, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I just don't think that like, at this point, it's just yeah, like I really do know you're gonna do very well. Like you seem very smart, and because like I said earlier, like I really adore and I really respect the person that you're trying to be because like, with my wife, same thing. And at this point, the only decision that we have to make now is two decisions or one decision out of two. It's just like, okay, do we want to give this a shot and just like see how it would plan out and worst case scenario, get our money back if we're unsatisfied? Or two, do we just want to be committed to maybe like mediating things like a little bit, maybe not spending so much, but like not really getting to the root cause of like accountability and essentially just like delaying joy. That's basically the answer that you need to answer. Because I know you said like there's a lot of unknowns, but I mean with anything, right? Like if you buy real estate property, you don't know if your tenant's gonna survive in the first 12 months. Like they might die or something. I don't know. Or like a pipe might blow up. Like these are things that happen all day, every day. But it's just a matter of like, okay, do we take life so seriously that like we're not willing to take a bet on ourselves? Because what's guaranteed is two things, taxes and death. But if you want to guarantee your comfort, the pain of regret is much greater than the pain of discipline. So do you want to find a way and make the money work and make it very easy for you to come in?
Um, Not right now. I want to sit with it more. I am leaning towards it, and I think it's more regarding like the call, to like come in have all this information and then be asked about a commitment, whether it's zero or not. My habit and my preference is to kind of sit with it, even if it's something else like school. I do the same thing and
Yeah.
job
And it's the way that you've always made decisions.
big ones. Yeah, I sit with it for a little bit, and then if I have any questions that I feel are hindering me from making that decision, then I'll definitely ask. And then from there, you,
And the ways that we make decisions, right? Like
it,
if this is how you've always made decisions.
for big stuff, for
Yeah,
big
yeah. For
purchases,
big stuff, right? And even if it's a big purchase, like even if it's like an investment,
like
right?
a house.
Right? The thing is, like, are you, side question, like irrelevant to this, like, are you a believer in learning and growing?
Of course.
If we want to effectively change like what we have in front of us, and like if you look around and like if you want to stay where you're at, right? Then yeah, you can, we can either make the same decisions that we've had or like approach decisions that we've always made the same way. But if we want to effectively like get new results or new friends, new communities, new heights in life, like would that require challenging the way that we've
Yeah,
made decisions?
it requires discomfort, definitely. But it also
Does it require like a different framework of like different framework and methodology of decision making?
not always, because you still have to check in with yourself and make sure that, and in my case, that you can commit fully, um, and make sure you get questions out the way. Um, and this taking a step
How do
back
you
to think about it.
how do like
What I don't want to do
yeah,
is make this another impulsive buy because this feels very impulsive. So me
this
taking
like
some
this would be
time,
impulsive?
yes, to be on a call for an hour and a half and then be like, I commit to 10 G's completely sounds impulsive. So it sounds like a pattern that I've done just at a huge scale.
Would I be able to challenge that?
Sure.
Has is this honestly a 1 hour decision, or is
Uh,
this a multi-year decision that we've been
uh,
delaying?
this particular Budget Dog Academy is a 1 hour
No, just the
decision.
change, like the vehicle and the trainer that you decide
The
to.
the change that I want to see, no, it's not.
And I mean, and
But
what about this?
choosing,
Yeah,
but choosing Budget Dog is. I know I am not. I don't have any questions regarding the change I need to make. I have questions regarding, um, do I want to make this
of course.
Budget Dog? Do I, can I
At the
manage?
end of the day, it just sounds like it's a big decision, which again, like I mean, if it wasn't a big decision for you, then it probably wouldn't be for you because at the end of the day, for learning and growing, it's all about uncomfort. And, I'm sure you know this. Like, comfort comes from where? Does it come from a place of discomfort or comfort?
I have different, I don't know if my answer is gonna fit what
Like, if you
your
want, like, if, for
experience.
example, like, if you want to get into real estate investing, you know, very prime example because this is ultimately what it's going to take for you. Like, if you honestly want to provide a better life for your future child and like be able to retire fully, the decisions that you're going to make fundamentally need to change. And the way that we approach decisions need to change. Like, I'm not saying that just to say that. Like, let's just actually make it granular here. In real estate or even in investments, right? Trading or like stocks and bonds or gold, right? CDs. The ones that are the most successful, do you feel like it's the ones that wait and do you feel like it's the people that who are most successful are the ones that sit with themselves first, make a decision based off of how they feel, and wait to make the right decision? Or is it the people that are able to move fast and make logical decisions based off of data?
I feel like it's a merge. I don't think I fit in the feel one. Um,
Just
it's
with just
based
with
on
real
the
estate,
ones
like
that
not with
sit with
yourself.
themselves and then look at data and then prepare for whatever decision they feel is best. And that feeling is either feeling ready or feeling scared and doing it anyways, which would be courageous, or feeling prepared for risk. Um,
Right. But someone in real estate, for example, like someone who's known they've been needing to do real estate for years and they've been delaying it, they know that they've needed to do it. They know that they have coping mechanisms that are preventing them from getting into real estate. If they don't change fundamentally how they make decisions, if they always make decisions slow or take the time, what's stopping someone for who can move faster than them and grab a deal when they see a good deal and they just do it?
knowledge gaps.
Mm,
People
yeah,
make
maybe.
people tend to make faster decisions when they have more knowledge, even when the knowledge is that it's a risk.
Exactly. So it's based off of logic and data, right? It's usually never how someone feels. Because at the end of the day, like if you want to be a very successful like investor or like someone who can retire, like what it would take, just honestly, like maybe in the next 2 years, like or maybe in the next 6 months, let's say we have a real estate property. The real estate deals that are good and have great returns, they're not on the market for long, right? Which is why it's like super important. Like, okay, great. Like we have this decision we have to make. If a deal comes up in front of you and you have the willpower, not the willpower, if you have the logistics to do it, if you delay that decision, someone will just swoop in and take that deal and sign their name on the dotted line
Right.
faster.
Yeah. And the ones who tend to make those business deals, like you mentioned, the ones that swoop in, they usually already have those knowledge gaps filled in. They know what parts are a risk and what parts are for sure and what the process is. They tend to typically understand that whole flow versus a person that sits with it. They need to identify what questions they have so that they can get to that point of swooping in and purchasing or
I mean,
even identifying.
as someone who's in real estate, like as someone who's in real estate, like would I tell you why that's wrong? Can I tell you why?
Yeah.
Because someone who makes a decision based off of logic, it's not the person that has all the numbers and all the knowledge present, because you still have to make a decision based off of risk and uncertainty.
Okay. So when you purchase real estate, are you looking at location and cost? Are those your two things that you look at?
I already have all of my bearings sorted as far as like where I want to invest, the type of market I want to do, and honestly, it's because A, like I've already made the decision that I need to make that change, and I would not delay a decision if I see a good deal. And it honestly doesn't even matter what the market is. If I look at a deal, like if I show you a deal right now on my computer, right? Like I'll pull one up right now. This is one that I was looking at the other day. It's in Ohio. I'm in Toronto. I'm 5 hours away from this. Like if I see a deal and I'm an investor and I'm like, okay, I need $47,000 to make 12% cash on cash return. Do I need to know anything else? Not really. I mean, if I just look at the numbers, makes sense. Okay, what's the risk here? Well, the risk is this. Real estate can crash. Tenants can die. The house is old, right? There's always going to be factors that will stop someone to not be successful in real estate or just investment or life in general. Now,
Does Budget Dog teach you how to read that and get to that level?
of course. Now, that being said, it's like, okay, when you get on a plane, you don't need to know how to fly the plane before you fly. right? You just board the plane and grab the cookie and fall asleep. That's what I do, right? Um, so the most important thing isn't like how do I feel about flying? It's just what's riskier? Is it not taking the chance, or even if it's for a day, is it riskier to live another day in the same lack of context, right? Because what you're getting is context, and it just sounds like what you're looking for is certainty that what we do for you will help you get to where you want to go, and that's okay. Like I don't want you to think like I want your blind faith. No, like I want you to have all the numbers and the data and be like, okay, look, there are people that have made it work in the past. Worst case scenario, if I'm unsatisfied, what will happen? I'll probably be out 6 months of my time or maybe a week of my time if I identify that I'm unsatisfied. And if that happens, what happens then? You get your money back. Like that's just the truth. That's the data. So the real risk is like, okay, like how uncomfortable do I want to get? Because you don't even know how much it'll take to cost. Like we haven't even talked about the money part yet.
What do you mean the cost? The 10? The what? I don't know what you mean.
Like without you knowing, because like you mentally made the decision to not pursue this because based off of like you just wanted to make sure you felt good and you wanted to make sure you had all the questions. But like the only way you're gonna get more certainty isn't through more information or waiting, right? And to be honest, because we also haven't spoken about like how we can break up the money for you and make it super tangible. Because you'll be surprised. Like I'm gonna tell you how the money works and how we can break it up for you, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, really?" But without understanding that, like I wouldn't
I
expect
can
anybody to do that.
I can speak on that. The one of the reasons, or the main reason for me to not ask you about how we can break this up is because I do understand and I know it's a commitment. So that's one. Two, um, this call is informative and helpful, but it also has a lot of like sales involved, which naturally puts me on edge. Um, and
Like the pressure of me trying to help you get to where you want to go. Like that's bad.
it's not even framed in that way. Um, the helping me to get to my goals, that is a fact of like this is the service that we are going to provide. But the pressure of I would like to end this phone call on your end, right? You would like to end this phone call with me making a financial commitment feels too much pressure.
We don't have to make any decision. In fact, what I usually tell people, actually, before I even say that, before I say what I'm going to say, what was the very first thing I told you? No, not the first thing. What was the very first observation that I told you when we first met? I care for you, right? Like I care about who you are fundamentally as a person enough to give you tough love and to basically tell you like, hey, like, you know what? You might not like me for what I have to say, but like, hey, we need to do this. But beyond that, right? We have two options we can make, right? I even gave you the decision to not pursue the call and we can end it. That's second thing. And third thing, I mean, look, we can commit to either starting or we can commit to just not changing. And that's okay. I mean, like, if you're more comfortable doing that and you can say that, Daniel, I am more than happy and I'm satisfied where I'm at and I'm happy walking back and waiting and pondering. Because if this was really an information call, we probably wouldn't be talking, right? Because I think you had all the information.
Right, but it still feels impulsive. And
But we're
the
not
two,
but we're not buying food though. Like this isn't like we're buying a $10,000 couch. This is
correct.
an investment that you've needed to make for years, right?
Um, I don't know about needing to make 10 G's for years, but
Needing to make an
needing
investment
to learn,
regardless.
needing to learn, absolutely.
And do you feel
Um,
like investments and do you feel like the vehicles or the surgeries or the procedures that we get, if we delay, like let's just say for example, you had like a hernia or like you had a disc, whatever, like disc bulge, and we've been ignoring that for years. I mean, usually what happens is two things. One, like the condition gets worse over time, and second, the surgeries get more expensive, right? And it's not that like, okay, you've needed to invest 10K for the last 3 years, but it's like, okay, because your goal is to not be the common thread, my goal is to help you not do that because I
right.
care.
What I'm noticing is that in your assessment of either sign up today and we'll make this work or stay the same, I don't necessarily feel like you, and it's probably from statistics, maybe, um, that you're hearing me when I say that I need to sit with all of the information before I make a commitment. Um, it's
If
not
that's
because
if that has served you in the past, I would 100% let you do that. By the way,
it has. And a lot of where I'm at has been based on
how long have you been sitting on your spending habits?
my spending habits are not what I am tying to the big decisions that have been great decisions. A
Yeah,
house
it's
is a
it's always
spending
it's never
habit.
about like the decisions that we make, but it can also be about the decisions that we don't make. And the very first thing that you told me on this call, again, just giving you love and giving you the care that I would expect an older brother or like someone to do for me, because I never had that accountability. If I'm gonna give it honest to you, just straight up with you, Francesca, like the very first thing that you said to me on this call was, I know what I should be doing, but I'm just not doing it. And I asked you why, and you were like, I don't know.
And you did clarify that. And you clarified that when you said, I'll be honest with you, that where you want to go is you're not going to get there through tracking nor just regular investments. You need to learn leverage.
But it starts with tracking. You
I
can't
believe, I
leverage, you
agree
can't do
that.
anything without tracking.
I agree. I agree. And I believe that. And I feel that to be true. I may not know a lot about how to use leverage, and I know that's a gap. And that is my attraction to Budget Dog, is to learn how to use and understand that leverage.
So we can do this, right? I'll give you a very clean option here, a very easy way to just end the call, right? We can either let this, because usually what happens is this, and this is also like a common thing that happens with investors. It's always about fear of insecurity and letting the insecurities breathe, right? The only reason why like stock traders or like real estate investors or anyone really, like any business person, doesn't matter, mother, sports, athlete, whoever, the only reason why someone doesn't do something is because they allow the symptom or they allow the anxiety breathe, which makes it even harder to make it a choice because then all that oxygen gets taken in the room and then it's very hard to make a decision. And I don't want that to breathe any longer. So I'm going to give you a very clear way to either move forward or not, right? We can either find a way to get uncomfortable and explore what that could potentially look like as far as like breaking up the money for you and making it super easy. And you can just grab my hand and trust that I'm going to pull you up and give you a life jacket. And even if I throw you back in, like, you have a life jacket, right? Like that's first option where you allow me to help you. Or second option is I'm not sure what side the button is on, right or left, but there's a red button that says end the call, and you can do that. But every time you look at yourself, or every single time you think about money or spending money on food or whatever it is, you think back on this conversation. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna stick to taking time to sit with it. Um, this still feels very impulsive, and I've made impulsive purchases that I haven't used. So I don't want this to fit into that.
If you
Um,
think that this is impulsive, then I think we haven't I think I failed my job in setting the right expectations for this call. Because regardless of what you do, whether it's fast, slow, millennial time, or like a decade to do something, the speed of making a decision has nothing to do with how bad a decision is. And
well,
to
for
be honest, like
you,
if
for
you
you,
and if
when you make a
yeah,
big decision, right? Let's go back a little bit to you deciding
if
to
my
propose.
leg was cut open, like if my leg got stabbed,
Let's use your commitment to your spouse, right? You
Mhm.
decided at some point to make that commitment and I'm comparing it because it is a commitment. Um, at some point, that thought entered your mind, and then
Yeah.
you sat with it and you processed it however you decided that was for you. And then when you were ready, you made that proposal. That time frame that you sat with, whatever that was for you, is where I feel like I'm at. Now, I don't think I need 6 months.
But how do you know that that's what happened though? You're just assuming.
I mean, I know you didn't meet her on the first date and propose on the second date.
But like, can I tell you what really happened?
Sure.
Um, so here's what happened. So yeah, you're right. I didn't meet her the first day and get on one knee and propose. Of course not. I don't think anyone has ever done that, right? Maybe some people. But the reason why, so we started dating 2022. 2022. He's sitting over here. 2022. Yeah, like we were young, and I mean, I made the decision that I wanted to make a commitment to someone, but that decision of change has always been there. Sure, maybe it took me 3 years to do that. Whether I made the decision month one, month two, year one, year two, year three, it still doesn't change the fact that the day that I needed to make that choice, like if I knew that she was the love of my life and I had to go on one knee, the only reason why I delayed that was because I was a chicken and I thought that I wasn't going to be a good spouse to her. Now, is that true? No, definitely not. Right? I don't think that's true. I mean, you can probably ask her. I think I'm doing a good job. But the in that moment when I realized I had to make that change and it couldn't go any longer, I bought the ring and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna probably propose like at some point.
Hmm.
But I made a decision in my mind. I was like, look, I can't keep pushing this off because what's the point? Because in that moment when I decided to pull the ring out, I very easily could have just put the ring back in my pocket. In fact, I didn't even go down on one knee. That's how scared I was. I was so terrified that I literally almost I didn't even go on one knee. I literally just like had the thing and we were like on a rooftop in Los Angeles and I was like, "Will you marry me?" That was very scary to do, right? Now I could have very easily just delayed that and kept on stringing her along of this level of commitment. But we knew very well that we should have gotten married years ago, and probably shouldn't have had sex or like lived together before marriage because we did all that wrong, right? And truthfully speaking, yeah, you're right. Like, I did wait 3 years, but at the same time, I really regret that. And I'm so happy that on that rooftop, I'm so glad that I didn't wait for the stars to align and like wait for the right moment or feel good. It was a it was like a rainy night. It was not even like it was like a gray day. It was not even like we didn't even do much that day. And I just was like, you know what, man? Like, what am I even waiting for? Let's just do it right now. But we were gonna fly out a day after that, and I very easily could have not been married to her. Is that delay what you're saying true? Yes, but at some point, You have to make that change because the riskiest thing that you can do right now, Francesca, just giving you some tough love, is believing that you need more time. Because you and I both know that time doesn't move any slower, and decisions get more painful as time moves on. And I honestly, because I really care about you, I would hate to see someone like you end up living their full consequence of an action because in the moment where they had to make a choice, they refused to. And then they basically like told the hand, no, it's okay, I'll swim back to shore. And because the boat's not there anymore, because the lifeline, because the information is not there anymore, it's way harder to make the choice. And statistics are true. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a single person come back to me saying that they're going to think about it. Like, thinking about it is just a polite way of saying no.
For you, um, for what you've seen, and that's what I was.
But
That's what I was. That
outside
was
of the
the energy
statistics,
that I
though,
was getting was the statistics. Um,
outside of the statistics, though, even regardless of that, it's the longer you let these things breathe, there's very little oxygen or less oxygen to make a decision and breathe better. And I'm telling you this from experience, especially just even just looking at where you are right now, right? It's just like, okay, why haven't we eaten healthier in the last 3 years? Because it's probably gone a lot harder to break that cycle. I've been there before. I used to smoke weed like a lot, like consistently, and it was harder to break that chain. And I'm finally sober. And I waited, I delayed. I knew it's what I had to do, but it literally took an intervention, someone to literally grab my hand and be like, dude, if you do this, you're gonna end up killing yourself because of how depressed you are. And sometimes you need people to push you. Pressure is where diamonds are made. Do you agree?
I'm very literal, so pressure is what makes diamonds happen. Yes. Um, is this the pressure that I need right now today at 2:09 to sign up for Budget Dog? I still don't feel that that's it. Do I feel that Budget Dog is for me? I do. Um, I
That's
just
okay.
don't. I don't feel like it's today.
Like I said, you know, there's always gonna be those people that are gonna wait until the new year to start going to the gym. There's never going to be a time that you'll know it's the right time. So look, if that's what you feel, I'm very sorry.
Don't
Like
be.
truthfully,
You
like
gave me the
I really care
information.
about you and it breaks my heart. But you know, you have my number. Um, I guess I'll see you around.
Okay, sounds good.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Francesca. See you later.